Among today's business challenges is the foremost thing of how one can speed up the results which a business is expecting. In other words, we are trying to achieve what was done in the last 20 years over the next 20 minutes. And this is where technologies like machine learning, like artificial intelligence, like artificial neural networks are being used by the industry. Now, when we are looking at these, there are some fundamental advantages. What these technologies essentially give are quick methods of optimizing. Fundamentally, two things that are not easy and things that take time. So, artificial intelligence, machine learning, artificial neural networks, all these work on these principles. The second advantage of these technologies is that they are self-correcting and self-learning systems. So, one does not have to really bother about how they are performing, because over a period of time you will see that their performance keeps improving. The third one is that they are pretty scalable. So, when you have to add new elements, the technologies are able to build up rather quickly. So, that is one advantage. Or the other one is, even if you have to go back and start from scratch, these technologies are way faster than what man would normally do. So, these are fundamentally the three major advantages of using these technologies. Now, to give you an understanding, real world has got a different flow of understanding things. So, you have got the input data which comes in and one applies a particular logic so that you get an output data. However, when you use these new technologies, they reverse the cycle by saying, you give me the input data, you give me the output data, and I will figure out what the logic is. Obviously, they are doing the job of man, they are doing the job of thinking. But in the process of giving them the onus of delivering the logic, the onus of delivering the program, one needs to look at three things. So, before you go for any of these technologies, you need to ratify three particular aspects or three particular questions. The first is the logic development being done correctly? So, is the method used for developing the logic correctly? Because ultimately these will only look at things as numbers, and the logic development often has a methodology which will make it easier and more accurate in a shorter period of time. The second aspect is that one has to understand whether the scheme is appropriate. Many times you try to apply logic, but then your scheme is not right. So, you are not measuring the right things, you are not measuring the right input or the output, therefore, your logic will be flawed. The third and the most important part is the overall architecture. Many times the overall architecture is not right, therefore, the errors keep coming in, because you are not using the right system, you are not using the right way of looking at things, therefore, the scalability isn't there, and therefore, it becomes a very short run kind of an investment rather than a medium run kind of an investment. So, many business owners ask me, how do we actually go about this implementation? And the answer to that is, one has to use modeling and simulation. So, what does modeling and simulation do? Modeling and simulation helps us identify whether the logic derivation is done the right way. Like I said, logic derivation can be erroneous, and modeling and simulation helps you determine that logic. The second is, modeling and simulation helps you expedite results. So, if you look at a typical machine learning system, you need to learn, which means you need to see as many examples so that the computer starts registering, saying that yes, this is the way the logic is going to look like. Modeling and simulation can help you expedite that by creating those scenarios which help the machine learn faster and therefore make it more profitable in the short run. The third advantage of modeling and simulation is that it helps you optimize the costs and the efforts. Naturally, when you use modeling and simulation, the cost that you are expecting becomes lower, because you have already ratified the system, you have already checked whether the system is going to deliver what it is expected to deliver and the way it is expected to deliver. And lastly, modeling and simulation will help you look at scalability over the short term and the medium term. So, scalability is something which is important to know, and scalability can be achieved once you do modeling and simulation. For example, a company understands where they are using artificial intelligence and machine learning today, but they are not clear about where they would be using it, say 2 years down the line. Modeling and simulation will tell you how exactly you have to use it today and how the usage is going to change over the period of time. Therefore, this is an important step one has to undertake before going for implementing anything in the area of machine learning, artificial intelligence or artificial neural networks. Oftentimes companies do not follow this, and therefore they have a lot of problems. But you know where you can get this answer, and you know where we are. So reach out to us and we will help you on that.